Welcome to Christmas in July. I'm so excited to be a part of this collaboration with the Dancing Soap Dish and other creators. I'll have a link to the entire playlist in the video description below, so you can go and watch all of the videos from these wonderful creators and see what they've made for their Christmas in July soaps. To start out, I decided I wanted to make a wreath, a Christmas wreath, and have some layers of color below it. I found these molds and decided to go ahead and try them and see how they worked out. I hadn't used these before, so I was looking at both sides to see how they might look. My thought was that I might cut out the center on one of these and use it. I started out reusing some leaves from a previous project to go ahead and make the wreaths. Got this melted and got it poured in the molds. While these were setting, I went ahead and reused some flowers also from a previous project. I ended up cutting out the centers of them to make berries. The fragrance is a wild cranberry, so thought I would go ahead and try that. It was a little bit tedious, and actually by the time I got done with it, and I had unmolded the wreaths, it actually would have worked out probably if I had just colored them, but I had no idea how they were going to look. So I went with this, and I just used a drop of soap, clear soap, using a pipette to glue the berries, so to speak, to the wreaths. And of course had to add some sparkle to it because this is Christmas. I started out with the red sparkle and went on to the Luna Ultra Sparkle, which actually didn't work out that well, and ended up with the chameleon color in champagne, and I thought they turned out pretty well. I did some cleanup on these, brushing away some of the excess colorant, the sparkle, and ended up going with two of them. I thought these turned out pretty nice. So it's on to embedding them in the soap. For my base, I used Brambleberry's clear soap. And here you can see I've got it melted. I just did about an ounce for each layer. These molds hold 4 ounces altogether. And I am working, the bottom that I'm pouring right now is going to be the top of the soap. So yes, remember to spray your alcohol, especially in between layers, and somewhere along here I know that I did miss that. So I got my soap melted, poured it in there, and working on one of them. And yes, there was a lump going in there, but I think that was okay. I did try pulling it out. And it is important to make sure you spray the embeds also and the layer, and try to insert them at a little bit of an angle to try to avoid bubbles underneath them. The temp on that soap showed 131, but I did a little more stirring, and as you can see, there was still a lump in there. But that was okay. You don't want the soap too hot because then it will melt your embeds. And I wasn't too worried about it on this layer. And that is one of the recommended temperatures from Brambleberry. So here I'm on the second one, and I'm going to do this one just a little bit differently. it's going to have a sparkle swirl, whereas the other one is going to have a sparkle backing. So right here you can see I've added some of the Luna sparkle to some soap actually, and just pouring in some drops, and then gave it a spray, and it didn't really move around too much, so I actually took my spoon and tried to swirl it a little bit. And I did this because I wanted, like I said, a different effect between the two soaps. And I do go on and add another layer. Actually, probably, or I could have let that layer set and then add another layer with the swirls. But I did it this way, and it kind of spread it out a little bit. So I just went back in and did the same thing and added a little bit more of the pre-mixed sparkle. And this is a pretty concentrated mix right here that I have of the sparkle, because I did want to get that really almost white sparkle effect. So we're going to go ahead and leave those layers to set up. They do need to be set up before we go on. There you can see, well, you could see that I'm using the wild cranberry with aspen. I did add the fragrance to the next layer because I am also doing that sparkle effect in there. So, and this is for the top soap. It's going to have just, I'm not doing the swirl in this one. It's just going to have a layer of sparkle behind that wreath. So we're going to see how it comes out. And here I'm just testing to make sure that that is set before I pour the next layer. And it's firm. It's very firm. Oh, and this is where I forgot to spray, isn't it? Yes. But good news at the end, spoiler alert, it came out fine. The layers did not separate. So it worked out okay. But here you can see that wonderful sparkle. I love the Luna Sparkle. Just adds a really nice effect in soap when you want a lot of sparkle. So we'll spray that and let that set up. Then we move on to the lower soap, and I am using, this is going to be my red layer, so I'm hoping this shows through that sparkle swirl there. And again, it's important to get that temperature in the right range. With brambleberry bases, they usually recommend somewhere between 120 to 130 for the layers to adhere well. And this time I remembered to spray it. So both of these are going to get a layer of the red. And again, I used the clear base. For the color, I did use the brambleberry red color block. And I'm pouring over the spatula just so I don't get a hot spot and that breaks through into that other layer. I want these layers to be distinctive layers. So got both of those poured and can't wait to see how this comes out with the two different effects. This was one of the things that I really did want to try to see how they came out. And we're going to spray that layer again. Yay, I remembered this time. Now it's time to move on to the green layer. And I wanted a little bit brighter green, so I have the Kermit Green mica, which is a little too bright for Christmas, but I also used a green chrome color block to get a little bit of that deeper green, but that on its own was a little bit dark. That's what I used for the wreaths themselves, was the green chrome color block. So here I'm just getting everything stirred in, and I did add fragrance to the colored layers with that, but I did not use fragrance in the very first layer when I did my embeds. That was just clear. So now I've got the green layers poured, and again using the spatula so that I don't get a hot spot and break through into the red layer that's below it. And again, a spray to get rid of bubbles. And then we're going to let these set up and do the unmolding. And here I'm showing you the color, the Kermit green, and here is the green chrome, the color block. And I think the two of them together made a really nice Christmas green. And now I missed the unmolding. I had camera issues, but this is one of them. You can see the layers there. This is the wreath, which was the initial idea that I wanted to do. And this one had, so it had the clear layer and then the sparkle layer below it. And I think it came through nicely. Now here's the one where I tried to do the swirls. And yeah, those berries look a little brown there, don't they? But they don't actually. They are kind of a pretty reddish, chromish looking color in real life. And that's how the swirls came out, with the red layer behind it. So I actually do like that effect. And the other one, so the red didn't show through so much, but that's okay too. It's still a very pretty soap. And you can see the layers there. Well, I hope you have enjoyed this video from the Christmas in July collaboration. And big shout out and thanks to Samantha at the Dancing Soap Dish for putting this on. Just a reminder, that link to the entire playlist is down in the video description. Go check out what these wonderful creators are making. Thanks.